Hello and welcome to Superbike GP. Today we are here in the Czech Republic at a great circuit called Autodrom Brno. The layout of the track is great. It's not a particularly hard circuit to learn in the general direction of what way the track is going. Within a few sessions, you should be able to make some really good progress. One of my favourite features about the track is the fact that it's so wide. I mean, you could have 6 or 7 of you going down the track, all in line, and everyone will be safe. It doesn't matter if the guy in front of you is on a bad line, there's plenty of room for you to take a variation. And that means that 600s, 1000s, V-twins to inline 4s, everybody has a line around this track. It's a perfect place to learn your bike. It also explains probably why that this is one of the very first track events to sell out as soon as it's announced. As for the track, there's a petrol station here, and trust me, you will be going through a lot of fuel here. And the hotel is only a 20-minute drive from the track, and one of the best features about the hotel is you walk through the back, down the steps, turn right, and you're into the town centre. Here we are in Bruno Town. It's a beautiful little town. There's something here for everyone. There's restaurants, bars, coffee shops, retail shops. If you're like me, you like to collect souvenirs, there's plenty of souvenir shops. There's such a great vibe here, even at the nightlife. There's little landmarks, and it's so warm here, especially in the summer, that we can eat outside. And trust me when I say there's something for everyone, plenty to do here. Great little town. So here we are on track. Believe it or not, this track has hosted motorcycle events since the 1950s. It's a fan favourite. The track layout looks pretty basic on the map, but believe me, it's made of 14 great turns and it really flows really well. Here being turn 1. It's a really fast, scary entrance into the turn. You're coming down here in 5th gear, maybe 6th on the 600, and you want to be braking just past the board. You want to look for the service road on the left-hand side, on the brakes, trailing the brake into the corner, coming off then, tipping in at the service road, and aiming for this rumble strip right here on the inside here. You want to carry a lot of corner speed into this, and trust the brakes, and trust the front of the bike. Run in with a lot of speed, drift out here. Remember the track's so wide, so you can drift out really wide, and then cut back. And it's like you're almost going around the corner for ages and ages and ages, and wait till you see the orange arm come on the right, and then pin it. Here we are at the complex. This is the technical part of this circuit. It's a series of 2 rights, 2 lefts, and ends with a right. The first right is downhill, and it's a fast entry, so you've got to be careful on that one. The second right leads you onto this tight left-hander. And it's really easy because it's slightly downhill to lose the front on this one, so you've got to be careful there. Which brings you up to around here, another left, under the bridge, and you want to be braking just past the bridge. It's tricky because this track's really fast, but you build up a lot of speed there, so you've got to be on the brakes quite hard and then off as you're tipping in because there's a little bump in between there. So be careful on that, but you'll make up a lot of time to other people here. So here is a great part of the circuit. Episode 4, braking. A lot of time can be made on braking. It's probably the biggest gap in terms of skill between riders. It's important to understand the level of braking your motorcycle has to offer. Each bike is different, and the performance on the newer bikes are absolutely incredible. I would always recommend an upgrade in pads, as the road pads, as good as they are, they will suffer from fade on a track day because road conditions would not see so many cycles of heat. On track is the perfect time to learn just how good your brakes are. Find the straight and use the boards for a reference, starting with the furthest away. Best practice is to get a good initial bite on the brakes and then give them a good hard squeeze. Once you've scrubbed off enough speed, gently release the brake to maintain enough speed to get you through the turn and get the bike leaned over. Keep progressing with the amount of pressure you give and getting a feel for the back wheel getting light. It may feel as though the back wheel is changing direction slightly, which it may have since it may have left the ground by about a centimetre. Once you know that feeling, you know how much brake pressure you can apply safely and can start moving your braking point a little bit later and later. We still want to release the brakes with enough speed to get through the turn. Think of the brakes as a device to slow the bike to the correct speed rather than stopping the bike. This will help focus on maintaining speed. Once you've mastered this step, the next step is braking at an angle and then trail braking. Trail braking is braking towards the apex, but as the lean angle increases, the brake pressure releases. But we are only focusing on the basics at the moment, so it's still possible to brake hard with part lean. But remember, it's important to have a good body position as we are using our knee as a reference. With all that being correct, we know if our body is correctly placed and our knee is not touching the ground, we may only have, let's say, 20 to 30 degrees of lean angle, and it's still possible to maintain some good brake pressure.
Right, so here today we have Debbie and we have Phil. Thank you for talking to me, guys. So I just want to talk about you guys because you're a couple that come to the track day and you allow Phil to go on track days. How many do you do a year, Phil?
Last year I was very lucky. I did about 10 European track days, so I was very lucky.
Did you go on all of them?
No, I quite like it when he goes away actually.
Peace.
Yeah.
But do you go away with him often then?
Sort of half and half really.
Okay.
Mainly when maybe his mates aren't going, so then I have to be pit crew.
For track days, and if the guys are going to go with the guys, if no one's going, Debbie comes along and steps in as the pit crew.
Well, I noticed that because I saw you got the stand for him.
I do the stand,
Put the warmers on.
and tyre warmers,
Water,
Everything.
wipes my brow.
Oh, okay.
I even carried the petrol can this year.
Do you know what? Honestly, I'm a bit jealous because my missus, she's small and she won't even put the paddock stand on for me because she's scared it's going to fall over. So it's a bit heavy. She's
I quite enjoy it. I love it.
No.
I wish I'd taken up bike riding when I was younger. Then I'd be competing against him.
Stand for Debbie.
Yeah, see? So, honestly, do you like bikes then?
I love it.
Do you go on the back of the bike at home?
Oh
on the
yeah,
road?
we have a bike, but
Yeah,
we travel all over Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, a different one.
Okay.
Not that nice bike, no.
But on the whole, what about the racing side of it? Do you watch the racing or anything?
Yeah, I do. I love it, and I get into the Moto GP. Yeah, I watch it.
Yeah, you watch it. Yeah, I know you watch it because you're here.
Yeah, I love it.
Watches
I love it. I get really excited with it, and we've been to see some of them.
Superbike 3 years ago.
We went all the way on our motorbike to see
Oh,
it.
the Moto GP in Valencia last year we went to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the problem is that a lot of other halves are not really interested in bikes. It's almost like,
I'm lucky.
yeah, you
My
are very
friends
lucky.
think I'm mad.
Yeah,
They
crazy.
can't see any interest in it at all.
Yeah, and that's why I'm talking to you guys because it's not often you see a couple that are both,
But when I met him, he did motocross.
Okay.
So, and I learnt to ride the transit van so that when he crashed or anything, I could drive him to the hospital.
Mate, honestly, so handy to have as well, isn't it? Yeah. So you're the perfect
It's
one.
good fun. We enjoy it. We have fun together with it.
Good. But the other side of it is, do you worry when he's out there on track then?
I try and cut my mind off from that
Okay.
because what's the point?
Yeah, no.
You know, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Obviously you do worry
Yeah,
and you relieve when he gets back,
yeah.
but I try not to think of it.
Okay, yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's,
De-stressing.
Yeah.
and you enjoying the sunshine and the time away
Yeah,
from
loving
home.
it,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Great stuff.
Cheers for that, guys. That's
Cool.
all. Yeah.
Is
Thank
that
you,
enough?
Phil. Yeah,
Cheers,
that's
Carl.
enough. Yeah. Cheers. Debbie.
Cheers, I'll give you a hug.
Oh, thank you. So here we are on the Ducati. Hard down the straight, feeding the bike gears. 5th gear, you always get over 170 here, but I didn't use it on this clip. Brake hard on the brakes, feed the bike into the corner, off the brakes, close to the curb now. Hug it, let the bike drift out a little bit wide and then bring it back tight again. Now pin the throttle here, hard on the gas. Aim for that curb there, left, hard on the gas there. Feed the bike gears. 4th, 5th gear. Overhead gantry, 200 board, brake. There we go. Keep the bike tight on the right hand side. And now we're looking for that left apex there, off the brakes, feed the bike in with a lot of speed. Keep the speed there. Hug the apex, keep the bike left. This is where you really want to be on the left hand side there. That opens up the right hand side. Right, after we reach the apex there, pin the throttle again. Let the bike drift you out really to the left there. Feed the bike the gears. Listen to the sound of that. Brilliant. Now we're reaching to the complex here. The first of the 2 right-handers. Stay close to that rumble strip there and then hard on the gas, but keep the bike lean over. Tip it in early, keep a nice momentum in there. And then what I like to do is I want to turn in left quite early here. And that way I use the bike's momentum to slow the bike down. Hard on the gas here now. Overhead gantry, wait for the green marker there on the right, then you're braking. But there's a bump here on the left, so you have to be careful. Be off the brakes nice and early here. Again with these chicanes, stay to the left longer than you like to, which I did not do there. Don't make that mistake, guys. There we go. Exit hard on the gas there. There you go. Hulk Hogan with a clothesline there almost, and there we go. 3rd gear, 4th gear. Now we're here in turn 10. This is where a lot of people make mistakes here and lose the front. It's so easy to stay on the brakes too long whilst too leaned over. And now we're building up. It's all uphill from here. There's a marshal's post on the right hand side there. You want to use that for your braking reference and the service road there. Brake. Stay left. The later you can turn left, the better, because it opens up this right hander. People make the mistake of turning in too early on that right hander and that messes up your exit for Horsepower Hill. And you want to be as hard as possible on the gas here. Now we're in the final chicane here. Into the last left, again hug the left, look for the service road on the left, short shift into 3rd gear, throw the bike on its side on the right hand side, there's the service road, pin the throttle now, build and build and build, and there we are, great exit here, feed the gears, listen to that engine scream, there we go, and that's a lap of Bruno. So I've had a hard 3 days here at Brno circuit, and I have to say it's been really hot. I've had some really good fun. It's about 32, 33 degrees today. Track temp was actually about 58, 59. There's a nice clock over there that tells you the track temp and the air temp. Unforeseen circumstances out of my control. We only had the opportunity to use 3 bikes today. I'd say it's probably not fair to compare them because there was only 3 available, wasn't as much tyres as was needed, and the lap times were whoever was on the best tyre. The Duke, I have to note, the Ducati went through more tyres. It was so slippy out there today, so much power, you're getting on the gas pedal, just spinning and slipping and going through tyres. Probably needed a slight adjustment on the suspension just to make that a bit better. There was one point I was going on track and there was a guy who got a good drive out I let him go, and all of a sudden, he's just gone straight on. And I think a lot of people were panicking just because there was a lack of grip, and he's gone straight on and crashed. And it was a bit off-putting for me, but I carried on and enjoyed the rest of the day.
Now the R1M was fun. I think it was just the conditions here, it was just far too hot for all of these bikes, but unfortunately the R1M set the slowest lap time. I met a guy who races the R1M and he showed me how to use the data logger, and I think in the next event it would definitely help me progress further on, but in this one, 58, 59 degrees, I wasn't getting no traction. Now onto the Suzuki Gsxr 1000R. Like I said, from start to finish, consistent lap times. The suspension was nicely set up. I think it was just slightly softer than the rest. The throttle response was not as aggressive as the others, and I think that translated to a nice, smoother bike. And like I said, it wasn't a million miles away from what was in first place, but consistent lap times and consistency in these conditions was a miracle. Ducati Panigale V4s. Shockingly, I did manage to get 2 good laps on this bike, but it was just 2 good laps. Apart from that, I had far too much movement with the rear wheel. Couldn't translate all that power down, and it was just really scary in some parts. Great fun, but it was almost like riding on sheet ice. The back wheel was just slipping and sliding, slipping and sliding. It's not really going to translate to fast lap times, unless you're going to keep throwing tyres at the bike. I actually found it better to use less throttle to go forward faster, but it did set the fastest lap. So, in first place we have the Ducati Panigale V4. Brno is such a fast circuit that played to the Ducati's strengths. The bike's so fast, it has the best brakes, so of course it was only natural that it came first. In third place we have the Yamaha R1M. In second place, the Suzuki Gsxr 1000R. And in first place we have the Ducati Panigale V4s. If you like the look of any of these tracks that I've been to, and let's be honest, who wouldn't? Head over to nolimits.com. Or would you like to hire one of these bikes that I've ridden? TracksideHire.com is the place to go.